Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel World of Wrestling, here today to discuss about WWF Raw is War November 17th, 1997 episode. This was actually, wrestling-wise, don't give a flying crap what happened on wrestling here on this episode. There was a lot of promo work that was done on this show that got this show to go by, and actually was successful at it, despite the wrestling being absolutely dreadful. A lot of DX stuff took place. Sergeant Slaughter made an announcement that he will be facing Triple H at the December 7th pay-per-view, D-Generation X in your house. We had two segments with Vince McMahon talking with Jim Ross about the situation with Bret Hart. He went over everything that took place backstage, the behind-the-scenes situations that led to this point. And really great stuff. It was real. It wasn't, operated under a storyline or anything. It was legitimately real. And everything I mentioned in a previous video, sneeze there. Everything in the previous video, I believe I discussed this on the November 10th episode. I basically stated word for word what Vince McMahon stated. There was a lot of things that was unprofessional by Bret Hart. Vince McMahon felt he did some things that might have been a little unprofessional on his part, but he felt it was the right thing to do based on the situation because Bret Hart was leaving WWF for WCW. So, in retrospect, he expected Bret Hart to be a professional and just do what he was asked to do, and that's to drop the title to Shawn Michaels. Fortunately, Bret Hart did not feel Shawn Michaels was the guy he should have dropped the title to. He refused to do so, Vince McMahon had to do what he had to do to keep the title and move it over to the person creatively he wanted him to drop the title to. So it's that simple. There was other discussions by Jim Ross asking him if he was standing in front of him right now, would he let him back in the WWF at that time, based on the circumstances that took place. He said, under one condition, if he apologized for how he acted and the way he behaved as a professional, he would accept him back. And he would apologize to him as well for how he handled the situation. But he did it only because Bret Hart refused to work with him on the creative decision on what was taking place at Survivor Series. I thought it was great stuff, and we see Vince McMahon now the way he is, creatively as a promoter and everything else, and you don't get that same Vince McMahon. You don't get that care or professionalism that he should be giving to his performers. I mean, if you look at the current roster, man, in modern day WWE, if he acted the same way he did back in WWF years now and didn't change the way he thought about the business, he would still be on top. There wouldn't be an AEW. There would be a lot of guys lining up to want to join his promotion, and he'd still be making the same kind of money he's making now. Bottom line, this guy doesn't care about pro wrestling. He mentioned a lot of times in the two segments he had with Jim Ross, he mentioned wrestling and sports entertainment in those promos. He said, "This is wrestling." I thought he was a professional wrestler. He said those two words, professional wrestler. He also mentioned this is a sports entertainment industry. That is the truth. The thing is, it's not the fact that he called it sports entertainment being the issue. It's the fact that he forgot this is pro wrestling. That is the issue. Vince McMahon is shy or doesn't like the word pro wrestling, and I don't know why, because he has a wrestling ring. He's got ropes around the ring. He's got people doing wrestling holds. This is pro wrestling. You can chop it any which way you like. It's sports entertainment, pro wrestling. Sports entertainment is fine. You can call it sports entertainment. You can say, hey, I'm trying to entertain the fans with pro wrestling. But there's one small problem. Vince McMahon doesn't entertain his audience with pro wrestling. He tries to entertain the audience with cheesy, lame, pathetic, childlike, below childlike, downright for people that have no brains and no minds. That's what he makes his show out to be. And people show up to these events and they don't make a peep anymore. I mean, this company is so dead at this point. It's literally it's not even on life support. It's practically got one little tiny heartbeat left. It's got a heartbeat that just kind of does a slow beat. Beep, beep, that kind of thing. But no fucking energy to it. There's nothing to WWE anymore. And that's what pisses me off the most about this company. Because they got so many great, talented performers on this show that could give 110% and make it entertaining for the fans to want to go see. Make it entertaining to get 2-3 million fans to watch every single week on a Monday and Friday night. They have the capabilities. They just don't do it. Vince McMahon is the head responsible person to why this company is a piece of shit. I know I come on here, I talk about Bruce Pritchard, I talk about Vince McMahon, I make comedy jokes about Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard, which I still to this day go back and listen to, and I laugh my ass off. I can't believe I was able to come up with a great parody. If you guys haven't checked it out, check it out in my video section on the channel. You'll be able to find it. It's not that far off. I mean, it's not even that old yet. But it's like a couple of videos down. You'll be able to find it. It has Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard's face on it. And you guys will definitely laugh. I promise you that. But bottom line, this is not a joke. This is very serious. If you're a guy that really loves pro wrestling and you value your time watching it and investing your time in it, you want to be able to be entertained by what you watch. You don't want your intelligence insulted. That's why I cover these old school episodes, because it's at least the one thing that Peacock has that's worth watching. Because if we had to depend totally on the main product that is now the modern day WWE, there wouldn't be any reason to have Peacock if you're just watching for WWE wrestling. It'd be a waste of your freaking time. Not to mention WCW, ECW is on the Peacock. But whatever, man. Point being is, if it wasn't for old school wrestling on this Peacock channel, I don't think I'd even care to watch it. I wouldn't care to have it. Period. I got enough freaking subscriptions to kill a horse with. I don't need Peacock on top of it just for the sake of being able to watch television shows. I got YouTube TV that has every single Peacock type of televised show that I like on there on YouTube TV that's recorded. I don't even need Peacock for any of that stuff. I use Peacock for WWE programming, and they don't deliver. So I use the old school stuff, and that's why I started this on the channel. So let's get right into it. The very first thing, we had Stone Cold Steve Austin show up with the Intercontinental Championship belt. Last week, the episode before this, Stone Cold Steve Austin was having a little bit of a confrontation with The Rock. The Rock went ahead and he issued the challenge. Austin accepted easily with no questions asked and promised he'd beat his little ass. And then on this episode, he comes out and he just pretty much is pissed off. He's calling out The Rock. He wants him to go one-on-one anyway and just beat the crap out of him. And out came The Rock and the Nation of Domination. It seems at this point, The Rock, in the last 2 episodes, the 10th and the 17th of November, he seems to be the lead dog of the Nation of Domination, while Farouk is taking a step back a little bit. So you can clearly see there's a shift of leadership within the Nation of Domination creatively. But yeah, he goes ahead and the entire Nation of Domination come down to the ring and attack Stone Cold Steve Austin. He fights them all off. Actually, no, I'm incorrect. I apologize. D'Lo Brown comes down to the ring. He gets stunned, and while he's being distracted by D'Lo Brown, The Rock goes ahead and snatches the Intercontinental Championship and runs away with it. So he's acting as if he's the Intercontinental Champion, which is totally retarded. But whatever. Nothing big there, but that was pretty much the case. We then had Mark Marrow go up against Jerry the King Lawler. Mark Marrow lost the match by disqualification because Jerry Lawler had Mark Marrow by a pinfall, and Sable grabbed him by the throat, trying to stop him from getting the pinfall, and Mark Marrow was pissed off at Sable for doing that and got really upset with her. Marrow actually gives Lawler a TKO and then goes over to yell at Sable for getting him disqualified. Now that she has her sunglasses off, Cornette brings up a good point about it being a bad idea that live audiences doesn't know the story behind the black eye, which, by the way, they mentioned the black eye situation. His wife, at the time, Sable, got kicked in the face by a horse. So that was a little awkward if you really think about it. But yeah. So we get the very first segment with Jim Ross and Vince McMahon about Bret Hart. I went over that with you guys and discussed that. So it is what it is. Nothing special there. If you haven't seen the episode, you can go back and catch that. They go in full detail about what happened and just the overall feelings between Vince McMahon at this point about Bret Hart during that time. So that was pretty much that situation. It wasn't a bad segment either. Savio Vega and Jose Estrada Jr. faced the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws. This match did not last very long. Lasted less than a second. So basically Road Dogg and Billy Gunn come out mocking the Los Baracas. Before anything even gets going, the two Baracas come out and help clear the ring of the Outlaws, and that was pretty much that. So the match didn't even really take place altogether. We get a video package of Ken Shamrock to show why he's the most dangerous man and really the only contender for Shawn Michaels at that time. We have Max Mini Nova and Mini Taurus going up against El Torito, Tanartella, and Battleon. I did not watch this portion of the show. I skipped it completely. I do not care. We then got Kane to show up. He ended up pile driving. He was going to come in the middle of this match and try to hurt these small people here. And then Mosh and the Headbangers came out. I forgot the other guy's name. Mosh and whatever. Doesn't matter. The Headbangers, they got their asses kicked by Kane. Actually, what I have to say about Kane creatively, I thought the red lighting was really stupid. I do not understand what the hell the big deal is about the red lighting, or why they did what they did. But yeah, it's really stupid. It's a lot like the the Fiend situation. But fortunate enough, they got away from this a little bit sooner than later. So thank God for that. So then we move into hour 2. Hour 2 kick-started with Rick Rude and the D-Generation X. They went over just some of the things that took place. So Shawn Michaels goes on to tell us that the pinfall Ken Shamrock got on him didn't count because it wasn't a sanctioned match. No duh. Brett is brought up, and since Michaels ran him out of WWF, now he plans to beat up all his friends as well, starting with Shamrock. Over to Triple H, he demands Commissioner Slaughter come out. Helmsley goes nose to chin with Slaughter and tells him that DX runs things around here, and the next time he sticks his chin in DX's business, it will be the last thing he does. Helmsley continues to run his mouth, saying that he heard a rumor that Slaughter's wife isn't happy with his ding-a-ling, and if Slaughter doesn't mind his business, Helmsley promises to essentially flash his wife. Understandably, Slaughter smacks Helmsley down while Slaughter backs Michaels into a corner. Rude tosses Helmsley the briefcase, and he hits Slaughter in the back. DX does a number on him, culminating in a pedigree, and Slaughter can still take a very solid bump at this point. I have to say at that point in time, he took a nice shot. Once Slaughter is down, DX places toilet paper all over him and crotch chops all around. And that's pretty much how that segment ends. JR actually states DX are not role models. You don't say. That was funny. So next match was the WWF Light Heavyweight Title Tournament Quarterfinals with Scott Taylor and Eric Shelley. Nothing special here. Eric Shelley loses by a flying DDT off the top rope by Scott Taylor. Scott Taylor wins and moves on to the next round of the tournament. Another thing I have to mention, why back then tournaments were so dang used during this point, but now Vince McMahon is totally against tournaments. I don't understand the man's thinking process. Like, it's really retarded what he has been doing with professional wrestling. He doesn't like tournaments, yet tournaments are very beneficial to him, especially if someone like himself has had a hard time with creative decision booking. I mean, this is probably the best option for him, is to have tournaments, because at least it makes creative a little bit easier. You don't see the same repetitive matches over and over again, and you get something different each week. And you can take your time with it too, leading up to the finals for a pay-per-view. There's storyline being built within the matches that make it more important. I don't understand why the hell he doesn't do shit like that. He doesn't do any of that stuff anymore, which makes no sense to me at all. So, after the light heavyweight match, Mark Marrow and Sable head down demanding some interview time with Jim Ross. Marrow is pissed at that the WWF isn't doing anything about Butterbean stalking his woman. He wants Butterbean to come get some right now. Well, Butterbean does just that until his manager stands in his way. Marrow tells Butterbean not to look at her, try to touch her, or even come to the arena anymore. If he does, Marrow promises to knock him out. He shoves Butterbean back and then gets shoved down in return. Refs head down to keep the two separated as Marrow and Sable clear out. Sable is very disappointed in the way Marrow is acting at this time, and as you can tell, things are starting to fall apart between those two. Next up, we had Vader versus Goldust. This was really a retarded segment. Really nothing important here. Goldust came out in a sling and also acted and looked really weird. He didn't even look like Goldust. He at one point was formerly known as Goldust, I think was his new gimmick name, which eventually turns into that after this. He starts wearing he looked like he was wearing a checkerboard with white and black and pink. It was very odd. Very strange. But yeah, he came out in a sling. He had a doctor's note saying he was not able to compete. And Vader looked at the note for a moment and then gave it to the ref. With the referee's back turn, he took a weapon and hit Vader right in the skull. And it looked like either he was selling the shit out of it or he was really hurt. So either way, things did not look good for Vader. And that was how that whole thing ended. It didn't even have a match, so it was pretty wasted out. Sergeant Slaughter came out after this match and made a statement that he's going to challenge Triple H in a one-on-one match at the December 7th DX In Your House pay-per-view, and that was that. Nothing special there. Rocky Maivia versus Dude Love. This match ended in a disqualification with Stone Cold Steve Austin coming down to the ring, trying to get his belt back, but unfortunately was unable to thanks to the Nation of Domination, helping him out for him to flee away with the championship and run up the ramp with him holding the title high above his head, and that's how the show goes off the air. Dude Love and Rocky Maivia didn't really get much started. It was like 4 minutes and 57 seconds. They didn't really have a long, decent match. So you can't really do much or say much about wrestling quality on this show, really, which is kind of shitty, because the other episodes before this and the episode before the November 10th episode, they were hitting it on all cylinders with some matches. They had some good matches taking place on the shows with good promo buildup going into the pay-per-views. At this point, after Survivor Series, from what I've noticed in the last 2 or 3 episodes, it's not been exactly all that good, which I'm a little disappointed in, but hey, it is what it is. At the time, WCW Nitro was doing better than Monday Night Raw, even though sometimes Raw was producing good matches. But with that being said, WWF at least try to entertain you with some good promo work, storyline build being taken place. I kind of like the shorter matches. I just wish the matches were, a little bit more of quality. But later on in these episodes, they do get better wrestling-wise. And also the main events become a little bit longer, like 10 to 15 minutes long. So the main event got most of the airtime, while the rest of the show is more filled with short matches and build up towards pay-per-views. So that was the basis of the idea of their formula, which I kind of liked a lot better than what they got now. Now they got repeats of the same matches, no real legitimate storyline build except for goofy, retarded segments. You know the whole bit. That's why you guys don't even watch it anymore, and why I don't cover it here on this channel anymore. Just cannot sit through 3 hours of misery and then, come on here and talk about it. NXT is fucking dead. I don't want to hear anything from anyone about NXT. NXT is the most disappointing portion of WWE I have ever seen. This company has destroyed everything they've done that has been successful and turned it into garbage on purpose. I don't know how anyone can actually support this product. I don't know how anyone can sit through and watch any of these shows. I cover SmackDown, and actually the last 2 weeks, I don't know if you guys noticed, I have not mentioned a word about SmackDown. I missed the episode beforehand, I believe. I think I did cover SmackDown, not this week, but last week's episode. But this week, I watched SmackDown on Sunday afternoon, just before the pay-per-view for All Out came on. I did not have the time to cover SmackDown for you guys. I do apologize if any of you guys do tune in, which you guys do. That's the reason why I upload videos on SmackDown, but I just, it's the same old thing. Rinse and repeat. I mean, the shows are not bad for SmackDown, but they could be a hell of a lot better. I mean, let's be honest. Personally, I don't know how anyone can invest their time in this product. It's a dead product. It's worse than anything Impact Wrestling could ever produce. And Impact Wrestling is not that great. And as you guys notice, I haven't covered the last 2 weeks of Impact Wrestling, which I apologize. I will try to upload a video of Impact Wrestling tomorrow before Dynamite goes on the air, and then I will cover Dynamite immediately after Dynamite's over. So you guys will be getting a double dose of my vids tomorrow on the channel. So keep an eye out for that. At this time, guys, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button, of course, if you're not subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. I thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope you have a great night, guys. Bye.